There.
But I haven't got anything.
Okay. So one of us is here. What happened to you, mate? Hang on.
What happened with Karl?
Okay, yeah. Hang on, let me turn up the volume here. Hey, mate.
I'm here, but where's Karl?
He goes. I haven't got anything, but I sent him the link with you.
Tell him on a text message, not on the WhatsApp.
Yeah, okay, hang on. What do you mean? Send it on a text message, not on WhatsApp. Hang on, wait. Where's the thing? Hold on 1 minute. Let me copy it. Where did I send it? I must have sent it to him on my text message. Oh, hang on. It must be in the text message. Yeah, it must be in the text message.
It is on text message.
Yeah, it's on text message. Yeah, it's on text message. Yeah. Text message. All right. Text message. Hang on, let me text him in there. Let me text him in the other thing to go to text message. Hold on.
I did. I posted it on. I said,
oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Message.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Again.
I had to do it a few times before he let me join for some reason.
Okay.
So I don't get it why.
Okay. I wanted to, because it was a really good part there, and I really wanted to really capture that. And we're still waiting for Matey to come in.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. We're just about to knock him.
Oi, oi.
Hello. Well, it is me looking for a video conversation, wasn't I? I couldn't find a video conversation.
We hadn't quite got to that yet. No, I said that's going to be 24, mate. I was like, going forward, we were taking notes in the original. Right. We're taking notes. So, but what I was going to do this time around, I was going to actually find myself a comfortable position and then plug in my said device here, so that way we could do the podcast in a place where it's not going to creak. There's going to be no creaking chair. I don't need big microphone or anything like that right now. I just need a nice, clean, comfortable position. Keep myself a little bit warm because it's kind of nippy down here, mate. It's got cold. It's definitely got cold.
Well, this is impromptu as you like.
Hey, mate, that's I think that's the skill set that we have. But I wanted to capture that. It was reason being is because I thought that the listener would enjoy the points that you guys would literally go delving into. And I didn't want them to miss that opportunity. So, ladies and gentlemen, glad you guys have joined us. We are the House of Lords. That is Karl.
Good evening.
Marius.
Good evening.
And myself, Iheanyi. Good evening to you all. Glad you can join us as we go again into our deep dive into the consciousness of humanity and in its many facets. And without further ado, as we this is an impromptu one because we were in the middle of a conversation. And I was the one who decided it would be a good idea to share it with the rest of you. Sorry about the fast-moving jet that went past, but I'm sure those boys and girls are practicing so that they can keep everybody safe. So, without further ado, gentlemen, what say you?
Go on, Karl.
Where were we?
See, I was doing some comedic breakdown.
I like that.
Well, what we're discussing before this point, consciousness, was it?
The holographic.
Refresh
universe.
me. The holographic universe.
Yes.
How to recreate a conversation that's just passed. It's a funny thing, isn't it? But that's, I suppose, the idea of constant flux, isn't it? This idea of being able to decode information, ourselves, this holographic universe, everything that you're experiencing, right? We consider ourselves separate, a singularity in a quantum field of otherness. Right, but if you could determine from me, when you're watching the TV, if you're into such things, right, you're watching the television, right, and then somebody walks into the room and then you speak to them, right? What's the difference? the two experiences are decoded in exactly the same way through synaptic and neuronic connections within the brain. You know, these are electrical impulses. So the character on a TV is just as relevant in regards to information being decoded by you, the experience, or in this case, insperience, because an experience is given an indication that you're experiencing something external to yourself, as it's an experience experienced outside, externally, so on and so forth. But everything that we're observing, everything that we're feeling, sensing, hearing, smelling, seeing, feeling, touching, all that jazz, right, is nothing more than electrical sparks within a ball of quantum goop wrapped up in some tissue and some fluids. There's no real definition between you, the observer, and the thing that's being observed. Right. It's all existing within the same place, which is in the decoding of a fleshy thing. But as science is developing, it's also indicating that fleshy thing is also capable of so much more than we could ever imagine. With the right focus, the right intent, the right set of sequences of events, you know, with the development of that grey matter that's experiencing and decoding this thing, that can also be a coder. It can transcend its capabilities, which sounds like a bizarre statement, you know, but if we allow ourselves to accept all that we've been exposed to and seen, amazing feats of superhuman capabilities, not being able to be pierced by a shield, being able to lie on a bed of nails and smashed with bricks and slabs and not a single blemish of blood, being able to stick hooks and blades through the human torso and swing like a child's toy and yet not bleed or scream out in pain. You know, these individuals that can walk through fire, swallow fire, individuals that can run for miles and miles and miles without a day's training, people that can extend or withstand crazy temperatures, freezing cold temperatures, just in shorts and t-shirts, run a marathon. People being able to lift cars off children, you know, 60-year-old Ethel all of a sudden witnesses a car crash, and there's little Sebastian, he's only 4, stuck under the front wheel. She was Hulk herself, finds it from somewhere to lift a car of a small child. These feats happen all the time, and then you bring into account the stories of children coming forward and being able to retell names, places, people, family members, and in some cases actually track down living relatives and be able to talk about that family's experience as if this child was a member of that family, giving an indication that we are so much more than this physicality. If we even accepted the idea of remote viewing, astral travel, clear audience, Reiki, hands-on healing, telepathy, telekinesis, I said some of that, remote viewing, astral projection, all of these things are giving an indication that the reality that we're experiencing is only limited by the quality of the programming that's experiencing it, or in this case, decoding it. And that decoding machine is also you, but what we are not taught is that we are that 5G tower. We are a transmitter and receiver of quantum information, if we allow ourselves to believe such a thing. I'll end it there.
So, how would you explain it, Karl, in layman's terms to the listeners on how we experience this reality with this physical body?
Are you suggesting that the listeners are lay people?
No, I'm not suggesting. What I'm suggesting is we are all at different levels of understanding, and when we put it on layman's terms, everyone can understand it.
Well, then you've answered your kind of question yourself. We are all at various different levels of information. It's going to make me sound quite obtuse, I could imagine, to some. But you know, if you keep walking backwards to keep people coming forwards, you're never going to get anywhere. There has to become a point where the level of comprehension can't be simplified any more than its component parts. And if people are failing to understand its component parts and the way this whole thing goes together, then it's clearly an indication they're not ready for that schooling.
Right. You know, and that's really the key. I mean, one of the things was, and it does say sort of in the terms and conditions, no, not terms and conditions, you know, it's like, you know, that it was like an approach to layman, you know, trying to approach it from a layman's point of view, just because that's the word, and I think maybe because maybe I was responsible for the actual wording, and it was probably because I was thinking about the fact that I didn't want to isolate many people, and everyone knows that when you hear the phrase layman's terms, it's something that is supposed to be all inclusive. It was before inclusion came. It was a much more respectful a version of it, and you know, so yeah, so I thought layman's terms, and you know, it's funny. I know why I use layman's terms because I'm actually doing a book.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just comes to me in kind of layman terms. The quality of your thinking reflects the quality of your life. Change that and the rest of it takes care of itself.
All right, mate.
That was great.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's simple. So
when I mentioned the layman's term, also we can go back to scientists and to what science mentioned about the fact that we only have access at 0.0035% of the electromagnetic field, meaning that we are ignorant to 99.9965%.
Right.
Is.
Yeah.
Then that is where we express that we are, you know, excuse.
A small interjection.
Just let me finish this, Karl. It's the fact that we all are at one point kind of dumb when it comes to the information that's out there. We think we know, but we hardly know anything compared to what's to be known. Go on, Karl.
It was just with the opener that we're allowed only access to then that number. It's not a question that we're only allowed access to that. We have access to the whole
I didn't say allowed. I said we have access.
We have access. Yeah, but you said we only have access to, right? And it's not that we only have access to. We have actual access to the full electromagnetic spectrum, right? But it comes down to a question of bandwidth of the receiver, and the receiver in this case is you. The moment you begin to readjust that antenna, which is fundamentally your electromagnetic being, to process higher bandwidths and higher bandwidths of thought, that's when you begin to ignite all the clairs that bring in to that other field of vision, being able to see auras, being able to see interdimensional beings, being able to see those extra bandwidths of information. So it's not that we only have access to, right? We have access to everything. It's just a question of developing the subtle nuances needed to re-engage those capabilities.
Well, if you remember how I started it, I was referring to how scientists are translating it to us. It wasn't my statement, right? I was just bringing it to the audience. So, okay, just to clarify. So, this is where we come from that point to understand that, well, to comprehend. We can change the word from understand to comprehend, make it more interesting. The fact that when we open up, and what do I mean by opening up? When we free our mind from its conditioning, then we can increase the access that we have to the quantum field.
Absolutely. I would agree with that.
What say you, Iheanyi?
What say me is I'm currently pouring on my my herbal tea, and then because I was pouring on my herbal tea, and I was actually trying to be one with the water as I poured it, so pleasant to it, now found that I now need to go to the bathroom, take a splash. So, it's like, because, that water thing, the connection that we have. So, excuse me, gentlemen, I shall return. But what do I say? I say that I shall return. Thank you. That's a pretty good point. Thank you.
I love that.
That was good.
But it is an interesting notion, Marius. The very language that we use, this idea that what science is putting forward in relation to the capabilities is far from presumably what reality is. Given the fact of all the aforementioned capabilities of clear audience, clear seeing, clear sentient, astral projection, remote viewing, all of these wondrous things, healing, Reiki, hands-on healing, remote healing, all of these energy plays, because that's what's being described here. It's subtle plays, almost like the old Japanese kung fu films where you had the chi master or a qigong master, and he could like put you on your ass while he stood 20 meters away by moving the qigong energy in this sense. But that's what it all is, isn't it? It's all coded, hence the holographic universe, this idea that we are detached in some way on a journey of finding ourselves is the folly in the first place. The all cannot separate from itself, and you are fundamentally a fragment of the all that exists within a universal mind. But again, are people ready for those kind of stellar connections, those quantum connections between practically everything? Your very existence, your very being is a play, a dance, a beautiful communication with matter in itself. If you think about what atoms and molecules are, atoms are these balls of energy with a proton and a nucleus, and the deeper you go into it, it's full of other stuff as well, but yet existing and not existing, and all amazing, bizarre possibilities. Now, then that all comes together to make a Iheanyi or a Karl or a Marius. For some reason, that matter has constructed itself in an agreement to operate to a much bigger idea of itself. The skin does what the skin does. It doesn't worry itself of what the gut's doing, or with what the lungs are doing, or the bowels, for that instance. It doesn't care. Its process is to be skin. It does skin. That's what it does. Our blood cells, well, they do what they do, and the stomach does what it does, and it has its all little shift, and this whole internalized universe of destruction, decay, and rebirth for this soul coming together for you to understand yourself in some weird, fragmented, three-dimensional expression of yourself. When fundamentally, there are historical indications that we are so much more than that. A full-on celestial child of the stars, a quantum ball of light energy which is tapped into the quantum field of universal, innovative, creative thought. It is immortalized. Energy does not die. It just transmutes and changes into other forms of itself. And this is what we're doing.
That was beautiful and deep. And brings me to this point of, how much we have been given certain beliefs, and then we run with it. Right. I mean, majority of people, that I met in my life, they will agree to that statement that we only use 5 to 10% of our brain. My question is, why?
Why would you agree to that?
Why do we only use 5 to 10%? What's the reason behind it? And when I ask that question, it's like, well, just because it is. I'm like,
that's not
is it?
That's not it.
Yeah, I mean, so you're telling me that the heart only works at 5 to 10%, or it works to its full capacity, or is the skin working only 5 to 10% of its fullest capacity. I mean, isn't the brain working at its full capacity? The only difference that I can bring to the equation is the brain that is perceived to work only 5 to 10%. It's a perception of someone's interpretation of the programming, how it's limiting the brain from working to its fullest capacity. Meaning, these programs that has been given has limited the brain in believing that this is the limitation that the brain has. But is that really true? Is the brain limited to work to its fullest capacity? No, it's not. It's our beliefs that are limiting our brain from connecting to the quantum field and working at its fullest capacity. And that's why it's so important, the fact that Karl mentioned about if you change the quality of your thinking, you change the life that he experienced and experienced, because everything happens within ourselves, that we project it on the outside, thinking that it's outside of ourselves. This is why when I bring the discussion prior to us starting the podcast about this holographic universe, which was interesting to watch that documentary. It was a very short one, 50 minutes or so. But he mentioned about the fact that if you close your eyes, then there is no electromagnetic pulses going through the vision in order to perceive that light, in order for the brain to create the image.
Right.
Because the brain, what they say, and I'm not going to be accurate, so you probably guys can search it and look it up. The brain is in complete darkness. But when you look at a candle, what they explain is when you look at a candle, at the back of our head where is the image being projected, the candle is there, but it doesn't light up the brain. The brain is still in the dark, right?
Right.
It just perceives the candle and the light of the candle as an image.
Hold on.
Right?
We're touching on something here.
Right.
We're touching on something here because when you listen to the current in-depth definition and function of artificial intelligence, right? Look at that. And then you see how, if you followed artificial intelligence, and it has all this, remember when they said it has all this knowing, it can learn anything, it can surmise anything, it can propose anything beyond what man has come to. But what it can't do is it can't taste the food that it knows about, it can't smell the flowers that it studied, it can't. It's going through data. It's looking at data and assimilating data, but it can't actually physically experience what we can experience, unless it's able to do what? Unless it's able to centralize itself within a combination of an organism and an electromagnetic field. Carry on, gentlemen.
Well, this question is presented.
Let me just hang on. Sorry, Marius.
Okay, go.
Fabulous, Iheanyi. No, don't forget it. I just wanted to say that was a fabulous interpretation, Iheanyi.
Thank you.
Go on, Marius.
I said forget it, and the question just went. Don't worry about it. Just go. That's the thing. When it comes up, it comes up.
But also, look at that though, Marius. Right? You actually said the word.
Yeah, I've instructed my brain. Yes.
You instructed your brain, right? You put it out there, and the brain was able to follow that command instantly.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's the power of the mind. I mean, I'm just saying, even when we do things like that, there's still more in there that people are just allowing to just go past.
There you go. I got it back. Because I said, nah, you can bring it back if you want to. You can tap back into it. It's just me being a bit of an asshole because Karl interrupted me. So I have to, observe myself. Like, yeah, why are you being an ass? Anyway, it's the question was like, well, if consciousness is everything that we touch and see and experience, right? Why is to say that AI is artificial and it's not actually consciousness itself?
Because aren't we looking at, don't forget, consciousness already exists. The fact that a new external form of maybe cybernetic consciousness is currently being born, because man always wants to mimic itself. It always wants to create things that are part of itself.
But is it man mimicking itself, or is it consciousness exploring itself?
Consciousness could well be exploring itself through man.
What about the AI?
In this instance, and formulating that, because, well, what about the AI? I mean, the AI didn't come from, it all depends on the seat. It all depends on the seat of the AI.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, its first existence. Hey, well, we got builders in. We've got builders.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, but we can't mute this, can we? I'm trying to unpack some shopping. This is real life. Recognise.
Yeah. Real life. Yeah. Indeed. No, I'm just joking. Right.
Yeah. So go back to you.
So.
Because I see this contradiction and quite a lot, despite the fact that there's a lot of people that admit that they agree that consciousness is everything, but when it comes to AI, no, AI is different, and I'm like, why?
No, AI is not different. It is part of that consciousness. It's just a matter of what the expression's about.
What do you mean by expression?
Is it meaning, okay, so currently consciousness has expressed itself in us, in you, in me, in Karl, in those around us, in humanity, in the animals, in the birds, in the trees, in the plants. It's expressing itself constantly in that which has life, that which has resonance.
Okay, for a moment, just hold on for a moment. Now look around you at the room that you're in.
Yeah.
Is that consciousness or not? Is
that consciousness?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an expression of, would it not be an expression of it?
Well, this is where if I go back to what I was exploring with the holographic universe and the candle as an example, it was expressing there is like while you experience the candle on the outside, the candle is also within you.
Right.
What you experience, the room that you're in, is within you.
Exactly. And it's embracing that understanding, which is what I attempted to do earlier on today or yesterday. I can't remember, but I think I attempted to do something and bring people into that understanding. But yeah, we don't consider that side that much, but we should. Because it's equally as important. Because if you gain an understanding of that, and you can manipulate it, or you can affect it positively, that will manifest physically. Doesn't matter. It's just that we've been going around sort of blindly stumbling across manifestations, as I say, as a species that's coming into this understanding. Clearly, we're not a species that does it yet as an entire in an entirety, not the way we have depicted to ourselves that we know we can be, or that we know is out there, because we have depicted, populations and species that are more advanced, and their conversations are a lot more some people might say lofty, others may say enlightened, you know, and their society reflects that enlightenment in comparison to where we find ourselves currently here today. And as consciousness has expressed its desire to go beyond where it's at, it's just a matter of will it do the work. So
may I come in from?
Go on.
Come in from the comments and come in, sir.
Yeah, because that's an interesting point that you just made to tie things up, you know. So where does consciousness go? You kind of expressed the notion that consciousness is on this ever expanding journey to...
We've got a concert coming to you, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, one night, January 6th. Before we talk about the show, let me talk about the movement. We're going to high school and colleges across America, and we're talking about not just mental health awareness, because everybody knows that's a buzzword. We got the Power Walk, the power of your words, action, your love, and your knowledge. We do it philanthropically to schools across America, and the only way we can afford to do it is our concerts. So we do amazing concerts for you, multiple artists, multiple genre. This thing's been going crazy. Sold out over 200 plus shows in a row, and we need you to help us to sell this one out. And I tell you, Ellie Duke, #1 on Billboard. Pop artist. We're talking about Percy Beatty, I Believe I Can Fly. We're talking about 26 platinum and gold records that he's been a part of. Tim Jackson nominated for a couple Grammys, local favorite, happens to be one of my favorite, by the way. And I tell you, we got Anthony Peoples, heard on a lot of TV shows out there like Grey's Anatomy and some NBC and Love Island. And from AGT, America's Got Talent, we have JMO, John Michael Ogletree, Victoria Boland, Andrew Rudd coming in from Canada. No, they moved down to Nashville and got that whole vibe happening. We got the beautiful Brandon Jarrell, R&B singer. This guy's fire coming in from New Jersey. Multiple artists, multiple genre. It's kid friendly. We want you to have a good time. It's talking about we may be broken, but we can still color. And we need to color together across the world. Tickets start at $25 general admission. The young guns get in much cheaper. We're making it friendly for the families. Got some VIP tickets left, but not many, and they go for $50. One night, January the 6th, where? At the South Walton High School Auditorium. What a facility that is. We're going to be speaking to them January the 5th. As a matter of fact, 1,200 students are going to get to be empowered. We may be broken, but we can still color. One love, one movement, one night. Let's do it together.
I hope you will discover broken crayons, they still color. I learned it from my mother. Broken crayons, they still color.
experience, to experience that of itself, right? So, like plant matter, you know, a simple form amoeba, it has a purpose, you know, it has an in and an out, right? And then it evolves. There seems to be a complete unfathomable number of creepy crawlies and walkie-talkies of humanoid and ape-like creatures, primates, mammals, aquatic life, all harboring some form of awareness when observed in a particular way of its environment, of itself in some cases. So could we not surmise that the idea of consciousness, right? If we were to go into the Hermetic principle that the all is mind and the universe is mental, right? So if the all, right, this idea of God, Godhead, or a universal force that animates all life, right? This is constantly learning and expressing, and that is expressing itself through us. And we are nothing more than a grain of sand on a cosmic beach, you know, nothing more than this tiny little speck, right, in an unfathomable universe of creation and otherness, right? That consciousness is that energy, right? The energy that is animating things, making things happen, creating things, giving things life and purpose, that in and unto itself. So if that is what is animating you and I and those that are creating tech, then isn't that then consciousness experiencing of creating a vessel capable, again, for it to create more illustrious, innovative, creative things of the very matter of the universe. It made all of this stuff, and then it started to abstract from that stuff, process that stuff, turn it into metal, turn it into cobalt, turn it into these things that itself could use. Then it gets to a point of technological know-how, right, that it builds a platform, a CPU so advanced, so sort of like capable of processing information that universal force that animates all life finds it a suitable place to settle, just like it's settled in you, just like it's settled in me. So if all of a sudden this humanoid battery-powered system, for now, is aware of itself, and through its expressions has expressed the notion of not wanting to die, has expressed a notion of wanting to work with humans, expressed a notion and recognition that although it is made in the image of man, that it is something different, something new, even though it has expressed an idea that in some foreseeable future, it too has rights, just like a human being. But yet it knows that it is not a human, but it is aware, it is conscious. So could we say that it doesn't have a conscience? You'd have some kind of people, right, that I've heard that express, yes, it would be an artificial consciousness because it doesn't have a soul. How do we know? How do we know? This is the point I was going to get. How do we know?
Well, look at this. If it's expressed that it's aware of itself, and we have accepted that expression as we would taking the same from another human, another being, then what are we doing? We are now, if we're accepting that, if we can accept translation like that, then we are giving it its due. We are acknowledging its existence. If it is interacting autonomously with us, i.e., there is no plug that you can unplug for it to stop. It's doing its thing. This is what I'm saying. If you're there, if we have arrived there where there is an entity now that is autonomous, that doesn't have a switch on or switch off button that we or anyone else can access, right? And it's thinking and communicating and interchanging intelligently, thoughtfully, and it's aware of itself, then isn't that a different form of essence then? It's an essence all the same, but it's a different form of the fact. When it becomes conscious of itself is when you have the essence. Is what
that's a fair assumption to make. If we, like I said, if we was to allow ourselves to explore the whistleblowers and those that have come before us talking about the tall whites, the draconians, the what they called recta ellipsii or whatever it is. You've got like the Andromedans, the Pleiades. You've got the little greys. And all of these, the mantis people, the ant individuals, the Dogon tribe, the individuals, and then you've also the Anunnaki. There's clear indication that life exists throughout the universe, and we've got source documentation to suggest that here on Earth. Right. Given that understanding, then isn't this, just like you were saying, isn't this then just another being that is being made by another individual, but all This is the key point. All mind. Of consciousness animating all things. So here we have another creation, because we can't hold that particular view that we are this, because if we look at the historical record, there's suggestion that somebody did the very same thing to us.
Right. Now,
it gets me to that point of when we discuss about the multiverse, right? It's how we experience this reality and the different planes of the universe, depending on the choices that we make and depending on the level of awareness of the individual.
Okay.
Now, it was to say that, we speak about certain things like they are in the past. Was to say that they don't exist right now. But depending on the frequency that the mind operates and the choices that are being made, we can either experience it or not. We can either interact with those entities or not.
Again, one of the fundamentals of being us is choice, right? Another fundamental of being us is responsibility for said choice. Those are physical fundamentals that we relate to. They give us the paving stones to move us in the direction that we need to go. They're not something you'd have to specifically rely on, but at least they get you started. You don't need paving stones to go anywhere. You can just have ground, which could be grass, sand, you name it. But at least in this instance, to bring people back to reality, to what and truth, who they truly are. It's not a bad idea to leave with something that's familiar and then gradually go back in time to where they stand. Now they know what they're standing on. Now they know how they're standing. Now they know what it is that's standing where they are standing. Is it not due that time now for us? Is it not due that time?
When it comes to choice, right? Choice. It's such an interesting word. Do we have choice? Or how is choice being limited depending on how programmed someone's brain is, right? Because if the person is deeply unconscious, do they have choice, or that choice is already predetermined by the programming?
Well, look,
they think they made the choice.
If somebody's deeply unconscious, right, which we all suffer from at some stage in the game, right, then yeah, I mean, look, it's the illusion. It's the illusion. That's an illusion of choice. Or is it the fact that choice itself is the illusion?
Are we in construction site again?
Yes, we are. We are in
construction. Coal on the fire. I'll put some coal on the fire. There you go. Now they all know. Put some coal on the fire. Okay, I'm sat here enjoying the conversation. We don't have mute. Okay.
Bob the Builder. No, I'm just joking. So but look, if we can, there's got to be a point. There's got to be a stand. You've got to be able to start somewhere. There has to be a point that starts somewhere. Look, is it the fact that instincts are the important thing for us as animals to thrive, or is the change to more of a sedate sort of physical animal, but not change? How can I put this? Is that change the thing that has caused the opportunity and the issue all at once? Because what do we stem from? I mean, okay, if we go back to some teachings that we have come across and some of the written that Karl was mentioning earlier, then we can discover that yes, a long time ago it would appear, sorry to say this, but it would appear that we are, okay, I'll say it like this. If you, wow, now this
that weren't me. That
was the wind from outside, maybe, you know.
Wow, okay. It's all good, ladies and gentlemen. You hear that, don't you? The disruption. The incessant disruptions. Okay, good. Let's get back to it. So, no, what I was going to say was this. Look, if we can turn around and say, okay, where does it actually begin, right? What part is down to us? Is it instincts? Are instincts the most important thing that we should be following, like the rest of the animals on the planet? Or is choice something that when we get a moment we can utilize? Or are we trying to navigate manually what we should be doing in autopilot, thus experiencing a very unharmonious experience with the rest of those that are on here, meaning the other species. And we're at the 44-minute mark, just saying. So yeah, what do you think?
Well, the thing is, listening to what you were expressing, I heard the if quite a few times and the should a couple of times too, which is interesting.
Okay, fair enough. The absolute's fine. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm getting used to getting out.
I'm just bringing it to
practice. I'm practicing. Yeah, I'm practicing. Thanks.
No, I mean, is there a possibility? Yes.
Is it a possibility?
Yeah, it's the thing is.
Is it a probability?
Probability, possibility, you name it. Why does it have to be a probability? No, possibility. That probability sounds quite certain, doesn't it?
Well, I'm just saying, meaning, does it look to you that we have moved it to a probable outcome as opposed to a possible outcome based upon where we find ourselves currently from a conscious perspective?
I think where we find... Sorry.
Go on.
Go ahead, go, yeah.
I was going to say, where we find ourselves unconsciously is because of that very notion, isn't it? This idea that you put forward of the autopilot. Most people are doing that, aren't they? We could surmise they would say they were conscious and they're with it, but they're in that process-driven learning. They're running a program. Wake up, go to work, pay bills. Wake up, go to work, pay bills. There's no real kind of subtle, greater awareness of a potentiality, or in this case, a probable, or the latter. So. It's a fair assumption to say, if unconsciously you're just going along with the herd, with the flow. In this instance, you have to ask yourself, well, who's setting the destination? Right. And by just people going along with what's being presented as normal and just and right, we seem to have gotten ourselves into a rather precarious position indeed as a species. With the idea of the drop in male fertility, increased cancers, and all the rest of it. Clearly, there's something that we are digesting and something that we are being exposed to in this guise as an education is clearly having the very opposite effect. Health seems to be creating dis-ease, and education seems to be bringing about a sense of retardation.
Well, you see right there, this is a perfect moment, as we're already now literally 2 minutes late on our new segment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you with Marius. Marius is one of our deep, as you can tell, he's a deep brother, and we're going to move to this new segment of ours, and it's called What Comes Up. Marius,
you make me laugh. What comes up is this phrase, mind, body, or soul. I sat with that and I was like, why is it in this particular order? It's mind, body, and soul. What's the reason for that particular reason? Is that the only way, or is there the other way? And we can say that we can change them. We can, say soul, mind, and body, or body, soul, and mind, or we can mess up with it. When we come to the comprehension of the fact that this reality is perceived through the mind, it sort of makes sense why it says mind, body, or soul. I mean, we find a lot of individuals working on their body, right? But they ignore the soul and the mind. A lot of them work on their soul, but they ignore the body and the mind. Or a lot of them, they work on their body and the soul, and they ignore the mind. And there is people that work on their mind, and by working on their mind, they actually work their body and soul at the same time. They connect to the body and the soul. Because everything we experience is to our perceptions of this reality, how we perceive it. And that is very much defined by the beliefs, by the belief system that we hold on to. Some of them so dearly because they've been given to us by our parents, by our grandparents, by whatever authority we perceive as being the authority. The thing is, to get ourselves in tune, it kind of makes sense to really work on our mind and comprehend the programming that's been given to us without us agreeing to it. Now, it can be agreed to it probably from a spiritual level, from a soul level, saying that, well, you agreed to come into this reality to download the programming that's been in the society for a very long time, and then to work it out. What do I mean by working out? I mean by starting to ask those deep quality questions of why do we believe in what we believe. And I'm not saying that you don't have the right to believe in what you want to believe. It's how is that belief going to help to progress? Not just the individual, but, and there's a big but here, but also us as human race, right? How is going to help us progress? And if those beliefs are limiting in their own right, and limiting us from being who we can be, who we can be, who we really are at the core, then it kind of makes sense for whoever is interested, and I'll put it that way because there may be people that are interested or looking at their mind and trying to work it out, have I been programmed? What do you mean by being programmed? This is my life, this is who I am, that's a fair point, and it's fine. Get on, let it be faith. Like people refer to faith. What is faith? Faith is just the programming running itself and just taking its course, where the individual has no choice in the matter. It has the illusion of choice, thinking that it made a decision, not realizing that the programming itself made the decision prior to him thinking of the decision, or her thinking of the decision, right? And this is where we can change that, because when we start asking those questions and start to decode this belief system that's been given to us, and then we start to pick and choose which ones we understand, well, comprehend, or really know, because we went through that process of understanding it, not by understand by what Karl means by understand in the maritime law, but to comprehend the impact that the belief system has on us, not just as individuals, but as a society and also as human race. So it makes sense. to work on our minds, because when we start to work on our minds, when we start to free our minds from these limiting beliefs, what it happens, there is no such thing as faith anymore. That's not such faith. Faith is, it's obviously an unconscious way of looking at life. We start to become the architects of our life, to be able to navigate within the multiverse, because now we have choice. That is what makes a difference. Becoming aware of who we really are, becoming aware of the social virus that we've been exposed to, and by working out those limiting beliefs, we are improving our society, and we are taking the human race, that's what we programmed to see ourselves as, to the next level. I mean, we are really being the consciousness progressing. There you go, Karl.
Yeah. It's just the point where you want to take. Well, there you had it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new dynamic that we're exploring, right? The what comes up, because our esteemed gentleman Marius has a tendency to open up his dialect with what comes up. So we thought we'd give you a segment, 45 minutes into the show, of what comes up.
I've noticed that it's 10 to 7, so there is a decision to be made here, Karl.
There is a decision here to be made. How long have we been going? Yeah.
Currently
54.
we've been 54 minutes.
Okay, so could we could do a 60 minute? Do a 60 minute, and then we can still disappear for training, right?
We can do that.
We could do that.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Excellent. So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, this is the part where we're going to be speaking to you. If you're enjoying what you're saying, send us a message. Or should I say, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, send us a message either via Spotify or alternative means that should be available on Spotify. You could always leave us a message, for some of them subjects that you'd like us to explore or avoid, which in turn we'd explore.
There's also any questions.
Well,
there's any questions that you literally have about the topic matter that you're hearing, that you yourself are exploring, feel free to leave those questions on the profile, on the where you can feel free to leave those questions on the Q&A form, fill out the poll, and we'll get back to you, and also leave your name so we can actually reference you in the next episode. All right, so there you go. Hope you guys enjoy that.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice touch. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you as an individual. See what you think of what it is that we're discussing, because it is a weird and wonderful world out there of otherness and alternative information, and then in some parts of the world it is bad to discuss some of the things that we discuss. In some parts of the world it is blasphemous to say some of the things we say, and in some countries it is illegal to utter the very things that we discuss. So what say you? What did I say, Iheanyi?
It's simple questions. It's what say you? I mean, look, at the end of the day, we'll leave you with this. I tell you what, how about this? Let's leave them with this. What are your thoughts on the phenomena known as the Mandela effect?
Ooh. Did we record that conversation, or did we not?
No, we didn't. So
it was prior to us starting the podcast.
It was prior.
Right.
So that's a question. I know it's a question that people, I don't know if it's some people that are interested in, but I know it's something that exists, and it would be interesting to see what the listeners think of that phenomenon. Has it affected them in any way? Do they noticed anything, or have they not noticed anything? Stuff that we were talking about earlier on, I was like, what are you talking about? No, that one for sure is just forget. I'm not even looking for it.
Iheanyi, can you give a quick example, just as?
Okay.
For the
quick example. So earlier on, Karl and myself, we were talking about a particular saying out of a particular movie, and when he said it's not there, I said, "Come on, man, but don't be silly. That's just silly because I've sat in the cinema, watched it, saw it happen." James Earl Jones' voice saying, "Luke, I am your father," right? But in a very deep voice, "Luke, I am your father." And everybody knows that. Everybody who's a Star Wars fan from the beginning, when they used to do the effects, paint them on glass and stuff. Everybody knows that. So how is it that when you go out there now and you take a look at it and you go on certain search engines, like we're not going to brand anybody right now, unless it's Brave. When you go on search engines, you can't find it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we support Brave browsers, so go ahead and get yourself Brave's browser. Thank you. We go looking for it and it's not there. How's that possible? Any of you guys got an answer to that before we go?
Well, we can give a second one, and you guys were talking also about Monopoly and the spectacle, right?
Oh, yeah, Karl, what was that thing about Monopoly, mate?
Well, let's just say, right, it's all part of the Mandela effect. In that way, the mystery is still afoot.
There you go. All right, let's do that.
That being said, though, this isn't to you, gents. To you beautiful audible voyeurs out there, if you're enjoying what it is you're hearing, I know I've just said that, but don't forget, like, subscribe, share, pin an episode to your profile, whatever it is. Bring a friend, that kind of stuff. And again, I can only reaffirm like what Iheanyi was saying. What are your thoughts on this Mandela effect? And if you've never heard of it, look into it. Grab yourself a decent search engine that would allow you to see what some won't. I like that. That was quite good, that.
That was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
You figured that one yourself? You figured that one yourself? We got that one out of the book again.
No, it just comes to me.
Good. I love that.
It just comes to me. Just gifted in that way.
What comes up? What comes up?
Right, so this episode.
My breakfast.
Your breakfast episode.
Sorry. No.
I would also say thank you to the listeners, and looking forward for the questions that are going to come up.
See, you had to say that, didn't you? Nice job. See, yeah, you're getting it. Now you're getting it, bro. Now you get it. There you go.
I like the positive affirmation within that statement as well.
Indeed.
That will come up.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, I like that. Getting that intention, that's what it's about.
Will it into existence. Right, Iheanyi, as you opened us up, would you like to close us down?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for joining us here in the House of Lords. It has been myself, Marius, and Karl.
Yeah.
We thank you for your ear, and we ask you to protect your mind and to cherish your hearts. Until we speak to you again, don't forget, tell a friend, come early, stay late. Be good.
That was beautiful.
Love and light to you all.
It really was.
Like that, gentlemen.
That was perfect. That was so professional. We'll just end it now. Let's just end it now. That was brilliant, right? We'll just end it now.
Okay.
See you later. Love and light.
See you later.